door-to-door sales for me.
Yeah.
And I did not expect to get into door-to-door sales right after master's from construction management. I thought it was a beautiful management project. Didn't realize that's how it is.
Yeah, so for people listening or watching, that bid solicitation is not even an experience that all people that get into the management side will have. It depends on the type of work that you do. Some work is negotiated, and by the time the management team is coming together, the prime contractors are already on board.
True.
But other types of work, and even in design build, will have that type of experience where you have to get people excited to come join this project and give good pricing, competitive pricing.
Welcome to the EBFC Show, the easier, better for construction podcast. I'm your host, Felipe Engineer-Manriquez. This show is all about the business of construction. Now, to the show.
Welcome to the show, Adalia Zhao. It is my honor and pleasure to have you on the EBFC Show. I could tell all the people listening or watching this on YouTube that you are working to make construction easier, better, faster, and cheaper for many, and respectfully too, which I really like. I want to dig into a lot of things, but I want to just go back for just a second and just ask you about what's something that surprised you about becoming an entrepreneur.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to the show. It's my pleasure to be able to talk to you and talk to all the people who's watching the YouTube and the EBFC show. Thank you guys for having me. And regarding to the biggest surprise that coming to construction, it has to go all the way back to when I just graduated from UC Berkeley. I thought I went to the #1 program in the entire world. So I learned all the construction management, how to be lean, how to be efficient. However, the first thing when I go to work in Hathaway Dinwiddie was my mentor asking me to count how many windows on this drawing. It took me an entire day to count 4,823.
Wow.
I still remember that number because it was a little bit nightmare for me. That's when I doubt myself, wow, did I graduate from UC Berkeley just to count windows on the drawing? Well, will Professor Iris Tomlin be proud of me? She knows this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a biggest surprise for me. And then that's just the beginning, unfortunately.
That's right.
There's more of that coming.
That was the first warning of what it was going to be like, and then it just got worse.
Yeah, it's only going down.
Yeah, and it's I can tell it's no strike against Hathaway Dinwiddie.
No strike.
It is the industry in total is how it is.
Yeah, when I ask my friends, they're like, oh, you're just doing that? Listen to what we have to do now.
Yeah. Adalia, when we first met, I found that we had a lot in common. When I graduated from electrical engineering, my first job as an intern was to just type daily reports. And I thought, like, I studied engineering so that I can just type handwritten notes into a computer database. And it was like, and my desk was also not a real desk. It was a door on top of file cabinets because the job trailer was moving, and so some of the furniture wasn't ready. And so we took a door sample and turned it into a desk. And I remember having to navigate around the doorknob because that's about where the mouse wanted to be, where the doorknob was installed.
That's very resourceful of you guys, honestly.
Yeah, but it was temporary. But that was my first week as well. So.
But construction did get me a very different experience, especially when I started working on projects. I started to call all the different subcontractors. I had never thought I would do something that it's just a phone, how do you say, like a phone consultant or something?
Yeah.
Like you basically call everybody and just ask them, hey, do you want to take on this job and how much does it cost?
Yeah.
And then you have to give a brief introduction of who you are. It's kind of like door-to-door sales for me.
Yeah.
And I did not expect to get into door-to-door sales right after master's from construction management. I thought it was a beautiful management project. Didn't realize that's how it is.
Yeah, so for people listening or watching, that bid solicitation is not even an experience that all people that get into the management side will have. It depends on the type of work that you do. Some work is negotiated, and by the time the management team is coming together, the prime contractors are already on board.
True.
But other types of work, and even in design build, will have that type of experience where you have to get people excited to come join this project and give good pricing, competitive pricing.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, I'd say, like, those are good lessons of learning how to talk to people. And especially, we'll get into your background, because I know English wasn't your first language.
Yeah,
You know,
and that
how-
experience helped me a lot, because I have to talk in front of like 20 people in the open office, and I have to be, hi, this is Adalia Zhao, and I'm from Hathaway, and what's your name, and all that, and everybody just look at me. It's a very awkward experience to start. It definitely helped me a lot to grow.
Well, in the beginning, did you use your title a lot, or did you avoid using your title?
I avoid calling my own name because it sounds very interesting, like very different, very weird. Because like my name is Adalia Zhao. Like now I'm getting so used to just introduce myself. At the time I was so shy. I was like, they're like, hey, who are you? Who's calling? I'm like, hi, this is Adalia Zhao from Hathaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so scared someone just gonna hang up and call me a scammer or something. That happens sometimes, because I did that too, like a lot of scammer calls.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good that you had a light script to use. And it is, if you're not accustomed to saying your name, which I think is probably, for people watching this, that's more normal, that you don't call always and introduce first, last name, and company, unless you're in sales.
Yeah.
And then you get trained for that. So then you just know that when you're in this time, that's what you'll do.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it is pretty awkward.
Yeah, it is very awkward.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting experience.
It's like podcasting. Eventually, and I've got, there's a monitor here that you can't see just off camera that Adalia's been instructed not to look at.
I just look at it.
so far.
I'm gonna cover this.
I told her, I was like, anytime that, so I encourage all the people watching on YouTube that if you catch her looking down, she's busted. Okay. And I would love comments in the chat of how many times did you catch her watching the monitor? Just for my own entertainment, because I think that'll be funny.
Like cover my eyes and only look above.
Yeah. I would count that, if that look there that she just gave counts as looking at the monitor.
No, it doesn't.
Because she has peripheral vision.
Now I'm looking at the monitor 100% of the time.
No, you're not. You're okay. You're good. So I want to get into the beginning. That was a great insight. And we were talking a little bit before the show. I could tell right now that we have more questions than I can ask you in the time we have. So I will make it do my best to keep it on point.
I'll try to keep it concise as well.
So I think your background, what really fascinated me, and me asking you to come on the show after the first time we met, was that I had just assumed that based on your accent, that you traveled from somewhere to come here. And we have a mutual friend, Guillermo, said that you studied together at UC Berkeley. And I find that most of the people that I meet from the program at Berkeley in the construction are very impressive individuals. And some, of course, to various degrees, but you grew up in China, you're working in the Bay Area, you went back to China later. I told you I did my research when I was doing my studies here. It looked like you did some work for Microsoft for a little bit of time before coming back. I'd say that that alone is a very high level overview of where you came from, but could you dig in a little bit and share, what made you want to leave mainland China, come to the US, and then where along that journey did you pick up English? Because your English is like on point. It's better than most people that speak here.
You will be surprised.
Yeah.
To start with, I grew up in China. I grew up in a very poor area. My family doesn't have a lot of connections, so I have to hustle my way out. I have been wanting to come to the United States because I heard it's more of a lot of opportunity, a lot of very advanced technology, and I always wanted to have the opportunity, the fair opportunity as all the other rich kids to start something of my own. So when I was in college, I tried different business just to make some money, and I was able to scale a tutoring business good enough that
Yeah.
I made all the money that I need to come to the States to support myself. Finally, get rid of all the, money restrictions in
Yeah.
my life. And when I came here, my English was really hard for people to understand. I remember when I joined my MBA class in Berkeley, one of my classmates said, she always trying to say something in the class, but nobody understand. But she's still trying to say something in the class. I think what actually makes my English improve the most is when I worked on the construction site, that I have to talk to a lot of Mexican folks.
Okay.
I call them Jose's on the job site. I
Yeah.
just have to practice with Jose's on the job site. Otherwise, I'm trying to tell them, here's my suggestion, and they're trying to tell me, no, I'm wrong, and they're trying to explain to me what's actually happening. That actually forced me to talk, to communicate, and to improve my English. And that's actually the biggest help. And also the phone call experience helps a lot, because a lot of time I can't even express what I want to say very clearly, and be able to practice over and over and over again to catch people's attention. It's a really good help in that sense.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Would you say that when you were back in China, did you imagine yourself working in the construction industry, or did that come later once you started schooling?
So it actually started when I get into college. I get into civil engineering, and I find it really fascinating, to be honest. It's so different when you look at a huge building and just be proud of that's part of your job, right? Instead of looking at a piece of code and say that's your job. It's a very different feeling. I can tell you from both of my experiences in the both world. And for me, I really wanted to be a construction manager. I always wanted to be like a conductor type of person in the entire company. But when I tried to apply job in China, they actually don't take female construction managers. You know why?
No.
Because there's no female restroom on the job site.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I didn't even think about.
That actually limits me a lot. And in my mind, if I want to do something, I gotta do something. So how do I do it? And I find out actually in the States, it's a different story. So I have to come here and just to know how it feels to be a construction manager.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And then how did you end up picking Berkeley of all places? You said you did your master's in construction management at Berkeley, and you have an MBA on top of that?
No, I was just taking MBA classes when I was in Berkeley.
Oh, just for fun.
Just for fun, just to
for fun.
communicate,
Yeah.
impress people that with my cracky English. So when I was in college, I do want to go abroad for the opportunity for wanting to be an entrepreneur, but my parents are not able to support me financially, and they also mentally not really supporting me to go abroad because I'm the only child at home. So my mom told me the only way that she would allow me to go to States is I got in the #1 construction management program in the world, which is Berkeley. At the time, it seems very far away from where I was. And I was too young. I was so naive. I told her, bet. And she's like, you don't have any money. You don't have nobody to help you apply for school. You have to do that yourself. Because normally it takes like 20 to 80K to just apply for school.
Wow.
For abroad in China. And I don't have the money, so I have to do everything myself. And within a year and a half, somehow I gathered enough amount of money and I got accepted to Berkeley's program. And here I am.
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And you mentioned earlier that you did get to study with Professor Tomaline, who's also been on the podcast. I don't know if you saw that episode.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love her so much.
Yeah, that's great. That doesn't count as a monitor look. She's looking to you, Iris.
I wasn't looking at
I know, you're not. You're safe. You're safe. Yeah, Iris, we'll make sure that she gets this so that she can watch one of her students and see how far you're going. Because I think your journey is just barely getting started. You have long ways to go with where you're driving towards.
Iris has been really helpful along the whole journey, and I have. When I barely speak English, she has been very supportive.
Yeah, Iris also has a very good accent as well. So I enjoy listening to people with good experiences, and then I think there's a magic in coming from a different perspective. I like yourself, I started with parents that did not go to university either, and I decided in high school that I was just going to go. And I just told them, as a matter of fact, like, I'm going to go to school because my counselor told me that I'm just going to work with the two of you. And it's like, I love you both, but I cannot work with you two. So I need to make my own path and trailblaze my own way. And I also had a dream of running projects, and I love projects. And then I don't know how, when people watch the show, they know like my story of how I went from where I started in school to ending up at electrical engineering from computer engineering. So I won't tell that story again.
Oh, you should have done it the other way.
The other way. Well, at the time, there were, at the middle of my schooling time, Y2K was happening. Oh. And so after that happened, all the computer engineering jobs evaporated. So there was almost no opportunity. So I had to adapt or be unemployed. And so I pivoted and went electrical engineering. And I never went to work in it. I went right into management immediately. But I did get my master's of business for fun.
Oh, nice.
With encouragement. And that's what I wanted to say with sharing all that. Like, we both have a similar drive to getting what we want and achieving. But at the same time, we've benefited immensely from people recognizing and helping us and being very helpful.
Yeah.
And I think even your starting condition with your parents, starting from an area where they couldn't support you, it created exactly the conditions so that you could launch yourself, which I think really does a lot for your character, differently than if they just would have handed you the money or put you into the program like so many other people do. And I'm sure that when you were at Berkeley, you came across other students that might have had a head start on you financially and did not seem as motivated to do anything. They're definitely not spending the better part of their day today on a podcast talking about how they founded a company. They're likely just working for someone else's company.
We hear all the time that building enclosure is the #1 problem in construction. And when the task of the building enclosure is presented with so much pressure, it's something most of us would want to avoid. Until now, there has never been a course to teach someone how to manage a building enclosure. Building enclosure is a problem for every company, and the solution is often to ask someone within to try to find training or provide training to their teams to avoid these issues. Field Verified's enclosure management course is the answer to that problem. We learned the hard way, we've learned through failure, we've learned from others. This course, our team, will help those people who are assigned to manage the building enclosure be successful the first time so that they're spared some of the suffering and hardships that all of us went through. There's so much opportunity for a high return on investment, not just when an individual attends and all of the skills that they'll achieve, but when a team participates together, they can raise their level of performance by knowing what each other can do, what to expect, and they can raise the level of performance of that company as their careers excel and the company elevates along with them. The training is built on the science of how people learn. We capture all of the components that are necessary to master a skill. There's a hands-on component to the training where we're building a masonry mock-up, a metal panel mock-up, we're doing EIFS, and even installing a window that later you get to test. The hands-on training gives us the opportunity to translate the lines on paper to actual construction in the field. We always laugh because after the training, people come up and say, you know, this isn't just about building enclosure. There's a lot of leadership in here. There are a lot of people skills. That's because those skills are necessary to be successful in building enclosure and in construction. We'd love to see you get started right away. We have lots of options available. They can come to us in person at Field Verified in Phoenix, or we can bring the entire operation to your facility and train up to 25 people at a time. And we've created an online training that's available for people who might not be able to attend in person. Go to the website and contact us. We're going to start by understanding what problems you're currently experiencing and develop a specific program that's right for the needs of your company.
My parents are very supportive along the whole way, and I think the drive comes from the family DNA. My mom, she never get to go to high school even. She just graduated from middle school, and she has been working as an electric engineer. Matter of fact.
Wow.
Yeah, but blue collar. So she retired 2 years ago and started to learn medicine, like traditional Chinese medicine herself. And when I came back this year, I saw her to actually taking on patients already. Yeah, she's like kind of like a traditional
phenomenal.
Chinese doctor right now. just learning on her own. She kept learning. She kept like studying from different teachers. And I really respect that. I think I got a piece of me from her, sure.
That is great. And another crazy coincidence. Just when we first came to this part of California, Northern California, we changed doctors, and my doctor was asking me about my last name. And she'd said that she was an electrical engineer for a decade and then switched into medicine. But she went into Western medicine, and she was a Chinese woman. So it's weird coincidence.
Wow.
Weird coincidence. Yeah, but not, there's a difference with traditional medicine versus Western medicine. They're different and they have their place for sure. No judgment. But if people that really know me, they know which one I lean towards. It's not obvious. Yeah, I think that's really great. I want to continue getting into your background, and that was really nice. I think before we leave your beginning part, a lot of people that watch the show or listen to the show are just getting started in their careers. And I want to just take advantage of your experience and let you immediately give some advice, or if someone came to you that's just getting started in construction, what would you tell them, knowing what you know now?
That's a very good question. For the people that just come into construction, what I would say is, if you find something that doesn't make sense, it probably doesn't. You should definitely try to find out another innovative way of solving those problems. For me, when I started and I come to my mentor, I said, does this make sense? He said, this is just how we do things. If you're able to solve the entire problem or do the entire project, we'll do it your way. Can you? And said, I cannot, because I'm just new here. So I have to do it their way. But later on, I find out so many different things that doesn't make sense. And in my head, I was thinking, no way I'm living in 1980s, right? There gotta be another way of doing it. So you just go try for it. Even when I was in Hathaway Divinity, there was this is actually the reason why I got into tech.
Yeah.
When I was in Hathaway Divinity, we had a period of time where there are not a lot of work, and I was panicking because I was new. I don't want a guy fired. And I talked to my COO at the time. I asked him, hey, what is the project right now that you need people to handle? He said, there's only one. That over the past 5 years, all of the managers weren't able to solve it, which is to sort out all of our Excel sheet for estimation data. And I was like, let me take on that. He said, okay, go try to use Excel to manage all the other Excel sheets. I tried for a week, it doesn't work. And I come back, I said, we need to use SQL. I also don't understand what SQL was.
Okay.
But that was a database, it's a relational database. We have to manage all the like 2,000 pages, in the relational database. He said, don't do that because that's coding. Nobody knows how to code in this company. Guess what I said? Give me 1 month, bad.
Bad. Yeah.
So I went in, I studied what is relational database. I actually built a database at the time. However, people who understand the value understand it, but the majority of the people don't really understand the value because they don't see. So for them to see the value of it, I have to spend more time to learn how to code. There's no ChatGPT at the time, so I have to Google everything and copy paste out the code, try to put something together. And I actually put together an entire system, a very basic foundational system where you can import the data directly by clicking, interacting with the interface, and then it will connect to the Azure Data Cloud. And then we'll link back to your Power BI report. So you immediately see all the live data for all different type of projects on their estimation side. And that really impressed my department. That's when they wanted to use it. So when you see something that you think there's a better way to solve it, there's actually gonna be a better way to solve it.
Yeah. And that's good. I just want to give a shout out to Mike. Mike, I know you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's exactly what you're going to do tomorrow. I encourage you to reach out to Adalia and get connected. She could definitely put some gasoline on your fire and keep you going. Because that's the type of thing that a friend of mine at the Bolt Company, Mike, is doing something similar, like what you're doing with a couple of different apps and putting together things that previously weren't done because the same question. This doesn't make sense. or this is a challenge that we don't have people in the company with the ability to deal with it. So you could just go learn yourself.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Like most of the things that the guests on my show talk about they come from this family of ideas and processes we call lean construction, but a lot of it has been adapted from other industries by people that just said, I don't know how this is going to work, but I know that what's working now is not working at all. So they would do something different. That is great advice. Yeah. I'll stand by that 1,000%. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that I want to add is do not be afraid of what you don't know. I was a little bit afraid of not knowing how to code, but I still was able to do it by myself. And actually later on, I spent about 5 months to learn coding myself, and I got into Microsoft within 5 months. So nothing can stop you if you have a feel.
That's a great story. And I didn't translate your Microsoft experience on your LinkedIn page back into English. So I just assumed that it was back in China because the title is in Chinese, and I don't know. So could you just tell me a little bit about that Microsoft experience, and where was it? Did you work remote or did you?
I actually worked remote because it was during COVID when I got accepted into Microsoft.
Okay.
I started from a Seattle office, and then I later on went to Vancouver and then come back. So I was there for 4 years, building very deep infrastructure for cloud and AI. Basically OpenAI and Bank of America and Boeing, all the big companies run on top of the service that we build. So I jumped from like construction directly into like tech infrastructure. It's very different spectrum. And I do see a lot of tools in tech that is so easy. For example, GitHub. When you make any change, immediately you see the difference. You see what you need to do. You see all the errors that you make, and then you can fix it, right? And you can even test it. I was wondering if in construction we have something like that. If you make a drawing change, I immediately know who's gonna be on board, who's need to do what change, and how much does it cost. Then I know, should I make this change or not? But we don't have anything like that. We only have until Jose on the job site figure out, somebody make this thing really wrong. And now we have to charge extra $200K. Then what are you gonna do? Then GCs and owners might get into a talk to discuss who need to pay for that $200K.
Wow, and that's a great transition to BuildTrace AI. And I think that GitHub experience, I have, like I said, a lot of experience programming as well, and taught myself quite a few languages over the years. And I think that the phenomenal thing that you hit on is that, and I didn't realize this till you said it, a lot of what we do in construction, and I've heard all the same things too, like this is how we do it. And I had, when I started off, I didn't have a Jose. I worked in Chicago, so I had a lot of Ivans and Patricks and Michaels. It wasn't until I came to California that I found some more Jose's, Pedros, and Pablos. But and it depends on where you are regionally. But I think that what you mentioned about GitHub, that really shows that in our industry, we use a lot of heuristics or these rules of thumb to deal with some of the complexity that we don't have the tools embedded in when changes happen, or even to understand something as basic as, and I think people that are not in construction, they take for granted this type of rule giving. So like, we're in a room right now, and if we were in this room and the designer wanted to make a change, maybe for the fireplace edition, they would just update the drawing on 9 out of 10 projects. And the team that has to build it wouldn't even get a mention that a fireplace got added. And it sounds crazy to people like not in the business, but that is so normal in the business. And we're dealing with even moderately small projects will have thousands of drawing sheets and thousands of pages of spec sheets. And when changes get made, I don't blame the designers 100%. I'm blaming you at least 5%, but not 100%. Like, can you just give us a narrative? Can you just tell us like what changed?
This is actually not their fault, because I worked with around 200 different architects, and I asked them, why can't you give us a narrative? And they're saying, how am I gonna give you a narrative if, for example, the grid line moved 1 inch? What do I say? every single room gets moved. Every single room's square footage gets changed. Every single layout gets changed. How do I even write it down? It's impossible. Right?
I think if they would just say that would cue people into what those responsible have to make the change would know how they're going to communicate it further. So designers, that's good enough. Just tell us that the grid line moved an inch and we'll figure out and chase the cascading change through. That's better than nothing. But I think you have an even better solution that, now that you mention it, I think BuildTrace will be like the GitHub of the construction space. That could be like your tagline.
That's actually my tagline. I call it a Git for construction blueprints.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So it's very intuitive. And I think that just speaks to the clarity that you have on the problem you're solving. So I want to ask you, as you've embarked on going from an idea or a problem, a frustration, when you founded BuildTrace, and it's only been a couple months, like we're right at the beginning.
Right.
Which is phenomenal that this timing worked out perfectly. You're using AI to track, and we've touched on it a little bit, but you just give people an overview of, like, when they engage in your solution, what problem are they overcoming for you? What's the pain point that caused you to bring this GitHub solution to construction?
So let me give you a quick example. My friend Lokesh was also my mentor in Hathaway. He was working on another project. He has over a decade of experience doing change management, especially on the construction, big, like $2 billion projects. And what he has to do every day when a change comes in, he has to compare 500 pages to the previous 500 pages, do the scavenger hunt, do side-by-side comparison. Takes him up to 3 months just to find out what changed in the entire drawing set. And once he find out what's changed, then he's contacting all different subcontractors. Then he was able to send it to the estimator just to get quickly how much it's gonna cost. And he told me everybody hates so much to go through that process. However, if Lokesh were to use BuildTrace today, what's gonna happen is he just need to upload that 500 page of drawing into BuildTrace by one click. And then all the change list, all the overlay, all the estimation will show out directly to him. And his job of 3 months will be done.
Done how fast?
In about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, amazing.
5 minutes to a day.
That's incredible. And I did get to see a short demo that Adalia, we were first meeting through our mutual friend Guillermo, another UC Berkeley product of Berkeley. I will classify Guillermo as another product of Dr. Tomaline. I know you love that, Guillermo. That's for you. But I was blown away at how fast. And then the example you showed me was only like a 30-page example, and I saw the speed. It happened in seconds, and the accuracy. I could trace it because of my experience looking from the before and after, and seeing it come through. And I told Adalia, I said, "You're sitting on $1 billion idea, because this is huge. This is going to save so much, and it's going to make, I think, just the quality of the build even improve that much more, because we all know that change is going to happen. There's going to be things either through design coordination or changes from the owner. Even a very well-organized owner will still have major changes throughout a project, because projects are just so complex now. It's inevitable. I've never seen a project go from idea to completion with no changes.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, right?
Even as the ideal for all the general contractors, we want zero change order. But change is just normal to happen. And we have to expect, we not only need to expect it, but we also know how to manage the risk for all the changes. And you actually gave me a big validation for telling me how valuable it is. I met you when I only have a prototype, when I only have an idea and I made a prototype, and I see, is this valuable? Is this worth pursuing? And you give me a lot of confidence in that.
Yeah,
thank you.
You're welcome. And I told Adalia, I said, this is something that you definitely should not give away for free. And so we'll see if she takes my advice. Everybody should pay dearly for this software because it is that valuable. And I've been in estimation space myself for over a decade. And I've been on the project management side having to deal with changes on the fly while you're trying to build the building. And if I could go back to any one of those experiences, either in my estimating experiences or in my management experiences, I would trade in one of my best engineers for that. Sorry, Martine, you're out. I was like, I'm naming names. So I was like, Martine, I will replace you with BuildTrace.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, Martine, but we'll teach you to do other things.
No, maybe Martin can use BuildTrace and move on to be a project manager.
He is pretty savvy at picking up new tools.
Yeah, that's gonna help you guys to take on more projects.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. And that is one of the good examples, like you mentioned with, you said Lakesh? Lakesh, your mentor, that process that you described, first of all, sounds just super tedious.
Yeah.
And I think the nice thing about a solution like yours is that there's not, the human element and the creativity is not lost in the communicating and shepherding the change through, but the tediousness is gone. And it greatly reduces the errors. And that was one of the things when Adalia was showing me the prototype, I asked, like, how accurate is it? Because she was very much of the mindset that it needed to be bulletproof 100%. And I said, if you're anywhere close to 95%, it's better than good enough.
Yeah.
Because there's been some research, and even with specialists, subject matter experts in the fields of medicine, like something as basic, and I'm not trying to make trivial or light, as radiology, where people that look at x-rays and do comparisons, and you'd be shocked to hear that the error rates of people just looking at a normal x-ray of a person and then an x-ray with some kind of abnormality, the mistakes that they make are on a magnitude of like almost 50%. So it's almost like by chance that they see what they're supposed to see. There's such a high error because of the perception, the mood of the person, the conditions at which they're observing. So many factors go into whether they can diagnose correctly or not. And I think your product takes a lot of that variability out, and it allows people just to deal with the set of things, almost like a list. Here's just a list of what is changed that you have to manage now.
Yeah, you're actually touching on a really good point, which is human mistakes. Because when humans are going through 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, we're getting tired. When we get tired, we make mistakes, but computer doesn't.
Yeah.
Why don't we ask computers to do the job that they do the best and let human do the job that human do best, which is communicating, which is to coordinate the job site. So that's what BuildTrace wants to achieve. And comparing drawings, Git for Blueprint is just the number one step that we wanted to automate in the entire process of change management. Later on, we want to touch on change order.
Yeah.
We want to touch on coordination. We want to send it to owners, because we both know owner always sending a new change and expect the results in 3 days, which is almost impossible for us to give back any result in 3 days. But now we can give them in like 1 day.
Yeah, at least a very accurate rough order of magnitude.
Yeah, and then they will look at the number. They won't be like, okay, does general contractor give me $2 extra million because they want to make $2 extra million money? No, AI said that.
Yeah.
Third party said that.
That is a funny thing you touch on. A lot of people put just an abnormal amount of trust in AI.
Yeah.
And this is a phenomenon that even one of my mentors, Jeff Sutherland, who invented Scrum, has said. He's like, I'm the inventor of this framework, but when I'm in a team with other developers, I make a suggestion, it has a certain weight. I'm the inventor of the thing. He's like, but if the suggestion comes from ChatGPT, everyone is like, oh, it's the right answer. He's almost frustrated, but I think that human beings know that we're biased.
Yeah.
And
we have conflict of interest.
Exactly. And AI is also made by humans and has some biases, but not to the level that the everyday person has. Yeah. Like that bias against designers. Give us the narratives. Okay. But now I want to ask you, you're definitely hitting on how you're making construction easier, better, and faster. And we talked about how BuildTrace actually works and saves time. And you gave me a beautiful before and after. So now I'd like an example. You've gone from the prototype and you started engaging with this market here, specifically in the Bay Area. What's a story you could share from somebody that is seeing your product in action?
The first story is actually Lokesh because he
Okay.
told me he was my mentor, so we did the comparison together when I was in Hathaway. And I showed him, hey, how about you manually do this comparison for this very easy, like 10 pages, and tell me what is the change list. He did it, and we run through our program immediately, and we catch 4 changes that he didn't catch.
Wow.
He was like a 10-year experience PM, right? So at that point, he was like, okay, so when will you be ready for us to use? I don't want to go through this ping anymore.
Yeah, and I'll spare everybody, like, the only thing Adalia and I have argued about is how low of a price she's charging for her solution. And I have been on her case to raise her prices. So if you want to get in touch with her now before she realizes how valuable her software is, now is the time to contact her. And we'll make sure that we put in the show notes below exactly how to contact her, her email address. I think you would put a phone number there so that people can call you and schedule a demo and see if this is a good solution for your team. But I highly recommend you do that now before prices will go up as she realizes how much of a $1 billion idea this is.
Thank you. And I am currently trying to take on the couple design partners right now with a demo, so we can work pretty deeply with the team to actually figure out what's the most valuable solution for them. We're taking on whitelist currently. We're just only gonna focus on the initial couple contractors to start with.
Yeah, and I love it. I'll say that talking to Adalia behind the scenes, she's assembling a fantastic team, some really good advisors that are going to lead her in the right direction with some really good experience. And I don't want to get into all the details because it's proprietary and confidential. So if you want to work with BuildTrace, you need to tap down on the show notes and get connected with Adalia. Adalia, I'm going to give you the last words. It has been an honor and a pleasure talking with you today and sharing these ideas about how you're making construction easier and better. What is your parting words of wisdom to anyone thinking about adopting a new technology in construction?
Thank you so much for saying all the kind words. For people who wants to adopt in construction, in technology, I would definitely say evaluate with how much immediate ROI you will get. That's my biggest advice.
That's very well said. It's like, it's just straight, she just cut right to the bottom line. You're going to get some massive ROI with BuildTrace and Adalia, and any tool that you use should give you benefits right away.
Yeah.
So, Adalia, thank you so much for being on the show. As they say in China, 谢谢.
不客气.
Very special thanks to my guest. I'm Felipe Engineer-Manriquez. The EBFC Show is created by Felipe and produced by a passion to build easier and better. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, everybody. Let's go build.